welcome to the Paranatural Podcast. My name is Ben.
And I'm that one they call Jake.
Yes, he is. That's my buddy Jake. And we are so glad to have you with us tonight as we celebrate our second anniversary of starting the show. Jacob, I'm fucking excited. How are you tonight, brother?
Fucking excited.
Fucking A right. It's a momentous occasion.
2 years.
And we're here with both of our friends and everything.
Hey, guys.
Hey!
Holy shit! Hey!
We made it 2 fucking years, bud.
Most people would quit when they don't have fans.
I know, right? Not us. We're too stupid for that.
Or do we just enjoy talking about this shit?
That too. That too.
Stupid.
Stupid. Well, if you are one of our 2 listeners, or I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 by now, and you enjoy the show, please do not forget to tell a friend about the show, and maybe we'll get, 6 listeners by next time. And also do not forget that we are now on YouTube, and we would really appreciate it if you would just give us a little subscribe, maybe listen to a couple episodes on there, hit the like button, leave us a comment. You can tell us how much you love us, or you can tell us how much you hate us, or whatever you want to do. We appreciate it.
And if you do hate us, definitely leave a comment and let us know why, so we can tell you that you're wrong and your opinion sucks.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm defensive.
He does get a little defensive. So anyway, Jacob.
1 star on Apple.
1 star. So what are we going to talk about to celebrate our 2-year anniversary, bud?
Well, so I was thinking we could just first off give all of our both listeners a huge thank you for being with us for 2 years. And your cat just scared the fuck out of me.
Which one?
The black and white one, white chest.
That's aloe.
Oh. Aloe for a sunburn.
No, aloe.
Hello.
As in a British greeting?
Hello.
Hello.
But yeah, so huge thank you to you guys for sticking with us and being the best fans on the earth. And for the ones that have spread the show like an STD, thank you. It's a slow moving STD, but I'm happy for it.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, for sure, guys. We really do appreciate you guys listening and all the support you give us and everything.
Yeah. So I'm just going to throw some names out there that I very much appreciate, that I'm aware that you listen to every episode. So Ben, thank you.
I only listen when I edit.
That's fine. You still listen. Me,
That was good.
thank
That
you.
was funny.
But Derek,
Yeah,
I know
Derek.
you'll get a grumpy piss fit if I don't mention you first. So thank you for doing some episodes with us, doing some episodes for us, coming on, being our only TikTok follower, or not TikTok, Twitter, that one, commenting. Thank you.
Wait, he follows us on Twitter?
He does.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So thank you.
We should maybe use Twitter. I don't know. I don't know how to twit, but okay.
Yeah. So thank you, Derek, for being the best gosh darn brother out there.
Yeah, we love you, brother.
Yeah, and thanks for letting us kill you during the holidays.
Couldn't do without you.
Yeah. So huge thank you to you.
Oh, wait. And he was also the mastermind behind this little gem.
In the name of the Holy Spirit, get the fuck away from me.
Which comes in handy quite often on this show, actually. So
Yeah. And the mermaid drawings.
yes.
And all the stuff he does behind the scenes. So thank you, Derek.
Yep.
Love you. Emily Kadar.
For sure.
Thank you so much. You are probably the biggest fan, and we appreciate you so much. She comments, she's active on the Facebook. She has done more for us than I could even put into an episode length. So thank you very, very much.
Yep.
And happy holidays to you. Justin, I know you listen to every episode, and I really appreciate you. He's been with me for quite a few of my creepy experiences, and being at his house is what like for sure stuck me in wanting to investigate paranormal stuff. So big thank you to Justin for going with me on my creepy vacations, and he's done an episode with us, the Paranatural Vacation. Yeah, huge thank you to you. Let's see. Who else do I have to thank?
Got Rebecca and Chris, who have been with us since the very beginning.
Yep.
And who have helped share things. And Chris, who lets his, I guess, nephew, for lack of a better word, actually listen to our show. So.
Yeah. Oh, and the boys at Blue Ribbon.
Yep. Dave, our buddy Dave too. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you
Dave
to you
and
guys
Matt
for doing a couple episodes with us, and for being so active on the Facebook. You guys are for sure some real.
Yeah, go listen to those guys too. Blue Ribbon Lounge podcast. They're fun. They talk about kind of this stuff. They talk about all kinds of stuff. So there's definitely a show that they have done that is up your alley.
You can deal with our shit. You can deal with theirs.
Probably more. So yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, do I have anyone else to thank?
I probably, but I can't think of anybody else. So we're not trying to forget
Patreon
anybody.
people.
Yep. All of our Patreon people, everybody who listens, you guys, we really do appreciate it. It means a lot. It really does. It really means a lot. Even those of you whose names I don't know that I see come up, I see your towns in our stats. I may not know who you are, but I see where you're from. I see the locations that get listened to again and again and again. And I want to thank you guys. We really appreciate it. We have some of those in Edinburgh, in Scotland, which is awesome.
One of our very first listeners was from England, and I thought that was the coolest thing when we first started.
Yeah, for real. I remember every time we hit a new country, it was like just so exciting.
Yeah. So now we're 4 countries now?
Yeah, I know, right? We're getting the big time.
Yeah, we got our northern friends, the Canadians. A lot of Europe, most of Europe actually, right?
Yeah, we've gotten quite a bit of Europe.
Yeah, but a thank you to everyone. We really appreciate you putting up with our fucked up stories and terrible
shenanigans.
Jokes. Huh?
And shenanigans.
Just
because that's one of my favorite words.
Yeah, I know. You put that as our bio on a couple of our websites.
Yes.
Yeah. So big thank you to all of you.
Yep. All of you.
All 7 or 2, 4. How many ever we got. But keep it growing. Keep the STD going, guys.
We're spreading like rabies.
Other than that, I wanted to talk about like 3 of our favorite paranormal or anything that like really got us into the Paranatural Podcast.
All right.
So I'll do one first, then you do one.
Sure.
Okay. So everyone knows one of probably my favorite cryptid, paranormal, like any kind of entity. I'm even wearing the shirt right now. It's a dog man.
Yeah, he confirmed he is indeed wearing a Michigan Dogman shirt.
Yeah, the dog man is like, it's my favorite thing from an early age, hearing the song on WTCM. it always had me too afraid to look out of the bus window when I was riding to school in October. Just with that, when it says the dog man's looking in and grinning, always had me terrified to look out the window. Like being in northern Michigan, every single time you hear a bump in the night, that's the dog man or a crackhead, but dog man's less realistic but more wanted. And all the way up until Gage and I saw it, I didn't give Gage a thanks because that dickhead only listens every couple of months.
And left you to get eaten by a dog man.
And left me to get eaten by a dog man. But
we love it, Gage.
Yeah, so that one, like, it has a lot of history. It has a lot of similar occurrences all over the world. The Beast of Bray Road, werewolves. Like it's got so many things, but the dog man, for me, especially, it originated in Wexford County where I'm from. And being that close to home with like how deep the explanations get and the history behind it, that in itself made it real to me. So that was the very first thing I wanted to talk about when we first made this podcast.
That's why it was one of your earliest episodes, if not.
I think it was my second episode.
I think so, yeah. It was way in there.
Yep. First one was Church Road. We won't talk about that.
We don't talk about the Church Road episode. That was just a
practice.
That was a practice that you guys got to witness if you go back that far.
Yeah. This story is about a road. Good. Done. That we live near. Yeah, that was an awful episode, but the dog man, so good. So yeah, Benjamin, your turn.
Well, if I have to name the first of my favorites, if y'all ain't figured it out by now, it's gonna be Bigfoot.
I'm the favorite.
You're my favorite cryptid?
Yeah.
Yon hibernating Hispanic?
Yep.
Did you hear about the Mexican that went to the doctor? Yeah, he was trying to get Hispanic attacks in order.
That's a good one.
What even says?
He said, did you hear the one about the Mexican that went to the doctor? He was trying to get Hispanic attacks in order. I'm about to suffer some Hispanic attacks here in a second. See that? That means you're live, baby.
Not live, you're recording.
We're doing a live stream.
Motherfucker, you didn't say it was live.
Love you, Leilani.
By the way, I'm fucking with you.
Yours is the Bigfoot.
Anyway, yeah, if I have to name the number one thing, it would definitely be Bigfoot. And I'll explain why. I don't know if I've told this story on the show before. So when I was a very little boy, very wee, one of my favorite movies was Harry and the Hendersons. Recorded on VHS for me off of HBO by my grandmother, which turns out is illegal, but hey, what the hell. It was the 80s. Get over it. And I watched this movie, and I watched it. And then I remember watching with my dad an Unsolved Mysteries. And they were talking about the Patterson-Gimlin film. If you are into Bigfoot at all, you are aware of the Patterson-Gimlin film. And it really caught my attention. Right? It just like, is that real? Is it not real? So, as a little boy, my dad is my hero, and I asked my dad, Dad, is that real? Is there such a thing as Bigfoot? And my father looked at me, and he said, son, it's a big world out there. You can't always know what's in it. And that was just like my click moment that any of this weird shit could be possible. There are some specific stories I think are bullshit. But that doesn't mean every story is bullshit. And I've been running with it ever since. It was from there that I was reading books about the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot and the aliens and fucking all that shit that you could get a hold of back then. Anytime Unsolved Mysteries had aliens or Bigfoots or Loch Ness Monsters or this cryptid or that cryptid, I was fucking entranced. Watching old episodes of In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy and shit.
I love Leonard Nimoy.
So yeah, that's probably why Bigfoot is my favorite one. Like hands down, I can't stop loving me some big feats.
Yeah. And I really like that there's several different variations of Bigfoot.
Yeah, for sure.
Like from the skunk ape to like the Mount Shasta Bigfoots that are like interdimensional travelers. And,
Right. To Batoot Toots and fucking
the giants from whatever Canada land.
Yep.
Which one is that?
The Nahanni Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bigfoot is pretty dope.
Definitely my favorite.
And if you listen to the birthday episode, you know that we encountered one.
Correct.
That was my favorite Bigfoot story I've done.
There you go. Your favorite experience with a Bigfoot?
Yeah.
All right.
Next, just for the creepy factor, and all of these I'm gonna like throw in there that I think I've had some sort of small encounter with, maybe. Next is Wendigo. So we all know what Wendigos are. We did an episode on them.
Don't tell my lawyer we kill people, man.
They kill people.
That's
man.
what Wendigos say.
So from this podcast, I learned a lot about Wendigo, especially with Ben's episode saying they could reach like 70 feet tall.
Mhm.
They grow with every bite they take.
The biggest fuck boy.
Yeah. And then my little encounter I've told on the Patreon, I know that for sure, was the at my mom's hotel in a undisclosed location. Derek, of course, he's in this. He was out in the parking lot doing probably some awful things. But he comes inside and he's like, dude, there's a baby crying outside. And I'm like, what? And I go out there and I didn't hear anything because it's the middle of January in northern Michigan. So it's like we had a lot of snow that year. And so I kind of brushed it off as him just trying to fuck with me. A couple days later, my mom, she had to like clean a room or something. I think we kicked someone out. She comes in just kind of looking baffled. She's like, there's an animal out there that sounds like a newborn baby. But she seemed a little bit more shaken than an animal sounding like. So I ran out there and I didn't hear anything. I'm like, you guys, she talked to Derek. They know I like this creepy stuff. A couple of days later, or like a week later, it's still in January. I know that for sure. I'm outside talking on the phone. If anyone knows me, I hate talking on the phone around people. So I'm outside freezing my dick off, talking on the phone, and I hear it. I heard what sounded like exactly like a pretty new baby crying in the middle of the yard. So I didn't want to go back inside and like lose the sound. I wanted to see if it was an animal or something. So I open up the door. I don't go inside, but I call my dog over and I grab him and I'm holding on to his collar as we're walking into the backyard where I'm hearing it. And I keep moving and it keeps getting louder and louder and louder. And where the sound was the loudest, my ears were like ringing. And it was where this old shed was. Like there was still the foundation, but nothing else. And my ears were ringing. Titus, the dog, he was yanking, trying to go back inside. Ears back. Corgis don't have tails, so can't say anything about his tail, but his ears were back. He was not comfortable. But he ran inside. I was like, okay, gonna take the dog's lead. This is a little fucking creepy. This can't be an animal. Animals don't get that loud without, being able to see them. So I start walking inside, and as soon as I take a step on the porch, it just goes quiet instantly, which creeped me out even more because it was just full blast and nothing. So then I open up the door. Titus runs inside. I take one step inside, and all I hear in like 2-3 different voices is "Aw," like it was disappointed that I was going inside. And guess who cuddled their Bible that night?
Fucking creepy, bud.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I remember talking to Ben about this, and he's the one who put it in my head that could be a Wendigo.
Could have been a Wendigo.
Yeah, because like right time of year, freezing. Kind
Could
of like
be a crackhead. You got
Could be
hold to the wrong stuff.
But probably a Wendigo.
Yeah, and then of course the Traverse City State Hospital episode. You said the thing in the tunnels that could have been a
Sounded
Wendigo.
a lot like a fucking, old school Wendigo.
Yeah,
Sure did.
so that's why Wendigo is my second favorite.
Fucking beautiful.
Thanks.
So I suppose that makes it my turn now, huh?
You don't get another turn.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, go ahead.
So if I had to pick a second, it would probably definitely have to be extraterrestrial encounters and abductions. Now, the reason for that is, again, probably unsolved mysteries. But when I hear the stories, read the stories, look into the stories, they are just so fucking hilarious sometimes. And I don't mean like all of them. Like Travis Walton's, not so funny. Betty and Barney
No.
Hill, which we have yet to do, but we're getting there. Also not so funny. But Antonio Villas-Boas, fucking hilarious, but like just fucking hilarious. And there's a lot of them that are just so ridiculous and so out there. And they're so full of these just very colorful characters. And I don't mean the aliens. I mean the people most of the time are actually the fun part. That I love them. I've never seen a UFO, to my knowledge, I guess. I've never been abducted by aliens that I know of. But some of the stories are just so goddamn funny and fun. And the aliens, like, we haven't done a shit ton of them, I guess, all things considered. There's so many more to do on the show. But there are all different kinds of freaking aliens people have encountered. Lobster claw guys and fucking tall guys and short guys and all kinds of guys. There's all kinds of them. They're so much fun. So
Mount Shasta guys.
Yep, Mount Shasta guys. There are just all kinds of them, and I just think it's freaking amazing. That's why I love those stories so much.
You keep reminding me of the Unsolved Mysteries. I remember when they did the interview with the alien at Area 51. They're like, "Is this a real story?" And it's just like an alien.
Oh no,
laying down
that
on a
wasn't
table.
that wasn't also Unsolved Mysteries.
What was it?
That was well, there was one. It was Alien Autopsy that was on Fox.
No, this was back when I was like 8 years old.
Yeah, that was Alien Autopsy.
22 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember watching it on Sci-Fi.
Let me let's do a quick googly moogly on that one. How about it?
I mean, that's half this show.
I mean, right?
Oh, so I suppose we should thank Google.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Google. We appreciate you.
And another thank you to Wikipedia with all of your truthful knowledge.
No, I don't want the Alien Autopsy banned, although I'm curious now.
Speaking of awesome bands, right before this episode, I was looking and I came across this one called Necrogoblicon.
Anyway, the Alien Autopsy, released in 1995.
Okay. But was it ever on Sci-Fi?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They replayed it on Sci-Fi for
Okay.
sure.
Then that might have been what I watched. It was an interview.
That was all fake, by the way.
Probably, but scared the dickens out of me when I was little.
Astonishing Legends, which is a great podcast and much better researched than our own, actually interviewed the guy that made the Alien Autopsy movie for Fox, or documentary, quote unquote, for Fox.
Cool.
But
Is
that probably helped a lot with my obsessions.
Yeah. That's your second?
That's my second.
Well, that's my third.
Aliens?
Aliens.
Aliens?
For sure. I mean, I was going to say Black Eyed Kids, but I don't want to get into that, and I don't have any experience with Black Eyed Kids, and hopefully never will.
Well, I don't have any experiences with my first two. So
that makes you a good father.
man, shut up.
But the Aliens, I didn't really get into them until, let's see, when did I turn 21? Probably like 2015. So the winter 2015 to 2016, I was attending college and working full time. I never really looked into aliens because I'm like, that's a bunch of bullshit. Like, you never hear any stories up north. Everyone always encounters Bigfoots or ghosts or Dogman. So I was never interested in aliens. But I remember about 2 a.m. I was driving home from work and I wasn't sleeping a whole lot. So if you want to say this is a hallucination, go ahead. But I have many reasons to believe it wasn't. And I've told Ben this story probably 10 times. And I've told our Patreon this. So you guys are getting a little piece of what Patreon gets. And I told everyone I've told this story to. I really hate telling this story because each night I tell this, I always end up having a nightmare about it. And it always just seems too real. But so I was driving home, and right before my house, there's 5 miles of cornfields, nothing else. I'm looking out the window, and I notice this really, really bright light. And I look over, and it was anyone who's ever done welding or plasma cutting. Being that close, it looked like the arc, like how bright that gets when you're cutting or welding. That's how bright it was, but from like 200 yards. And it was a type of color that I can't even describe it. It was purple and orange and green all at the same time. And it had like waves. And instantly, right when I saw it, I didn't feel good. I noticed that as soon as I saw it, and it was only about a 5-second duration that I saw it before the trees covered it up. So I get home, and I had to be up about 6:30 to go to college. As soon as I got home, go to the bathroom, throw up, and what I threw up was just this like black tar substance. It was really thick, like it was black, it was dark, and did not make me feel all that great.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah. So I kind of just laid on the floor for a second, enjoying the cold, and started crawling back to my bed, but had to throw up again. And yep, that black liquid again. And I just kept feeling shittier and shittier, and like my limbs didn't want to do what I wanted them to do. I could hardly stand up. So I kind of just pulled myself into bed. And as soon as I fell asleep, it's probably 3 o'clock in the morning at this point. I have this dream that I get sucked like through my wall and get abducted. And I remember looking up this real bright light on top of me, and I'm laying on this like almost like a veterinarian table, that just metal table where they put dogs or cats, whatever. I'm laying on that with that bright light ahead of me, and I can see the silhouettes of these giant heads, 3 of them, right over top of me, like leaning over me. And they got a little bit farther away, and I could finally see their faces, and their faces were nothing but 2 giant black eyes, not walnut shaped, not quarter size. They were giant. They were like baseball sized. And I remember they dropped something on my stomach, totally exposed, by the way, back when I had a 6-pack. So you guys can picture how wonderful this was. And this thing, it like spread out almost, it was like a dot at first, but then it spread out like a worm and it went in my belly button. And I remember feeling it like it hurt. And then they dropped another one and it went in my eye. And next thing I know, I wake up and I am not in my bed. I am not even downstairs where my room was. I was upstairs on the living room couch, kind of half on, half off. And I noticed that there was a little bit of light outside. So I was like, uh-oh, gonna be late. And it wasn't really clicking that I was upstairs. So I run back downstairs, grab my phone, and I couldn't get it to turn on. So I go back upstairs, look at the clock on the stove, and it said 4:30. It's like, how is that possible? And next thing I know, I hear someone pulling into the driveway, and it's my dad. I was going to college. Don't judge me. I lived with my dad at the time. Turns out it was 4:30 p.m. And I was like, oh shit. So I just run downstairs because I didn't want to be like, hey, I skipped work in college today. So I go to just take a shower and get the sick out of me and all that. When I noticed that I had bruises, I had a black eye, I had bruises on my stomach. My eye was like completely bloodshot. You've seen it in the movies where like you rupture blood vessels in your eyes and it's completely red. That's how my eye was. And I had pictures on my phone like 6 phones ago. And that phone was toast. I ended up running to Walmart and grabbing a new one. And yeah, so I kind of want to like go to a hypnotherapist and find out if there was actually something that happened or if it was just a dream and I punched myself in the face in my sleep and slept walk, and that light was just sleep deprivation. But ever since, like I wouldn't look at alien stuff for like 2-3 years after that because I was too freaked out. And then I started really researching alien stuff, and Travis Walton's case was so definitely hit home after that encounter. And like I remember reading about these 2 fishermen who got abducted.
The Pascagoula incident.
Yeah, that one.
That was the lobster claw alien.
Yep.
Spoiler warning, because we're going to do that one. I'm going to do that one of these days.
And then when I was on a houseboat, first time my mom ever heard me swear, one of the only times my mom's ever heard me swear, unless she listens to this podcast a lot. I remember we were looking up, and it was right after that Starlink thing, but definitely didn't look like all the videos I've seen on Starlink. It was like triangles up there, and you could almost see the silhouettes, but pitch black sky. I was like, what the fuck is that? And my mom's like, oh, would you look at that? It's got to be that Starlink. I'm like, that's a UFO, mama. But maybe it was Starlink, maybe it wasn't.
Well,
Who knows?
here's my theory on it. Anything can be a UFO if it's airborne and you're really bad at identifying things.
Well, I imagine I'm not the best at identifying things. But yeah, that's why I really dig alien stuff. Yeah, but just so the aliens know that listen to this episode and don't download it, the assholes, I'm loaded now. Try to abduct me, bitches. I'll shoot them.
So was the guy at Stardust Ranch. Look what that did for him.
he ended up killing him for years and years.
Years and years and years.
Yeah, but he had a sword.
That he did. And an AK-47.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a battle axe and a 12 gauge.
What was that guy's name? John Edmonds, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was racking my brain there trying to think of his name.
Yeah.
We do a lot of these. A lot of names to try and remember.
But remembering the episodes is a lot of fun.
Sometimes, yes. Unless it's Church Road. And then we don't want to remember it.
Church Road and Satan's Harvest. Your turn.
So I'm probably going to have to cheat on this one a little bit because I have two that are in for a tie for my third favorites. The first one is kind of a broad category because I very much enjoy the stories of the one-off what the fucks. So things like Jeff the Talking Mongoose. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Or an episode that, another spoiler alert, you have coming up, Sam the Sandown Clown. One off, what the fuck is that?
You guys have that episode coming up real soon.
So I really enjoy those kind of stories because they're just so unique.
Yeah.
The tie spot for my number 3 is the only one I've ever had experience with. And that would be like ghostesses and spirits and, I guess, quote unquote demons. I've always enjoyed those stories, movies, things like that. And then I do have my own experiences, which our Patreon members have heard. And there's a ton of them, which also helps them to make that top of the list thing, is that almost everyone you talk to, even if they say, I don't believe in any of this shit, give them a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Because the next thing they're going to say is either, but this one time, or, but my grandma always said, something along those lines. Almost everybody's got a ghost story.
Yeah, even if they don't, they're like, oh, it's a rational explanation. And then you hear it and you're like, how does that make any sense rationally?
Like I have a coworker. I won't name names or anything like that, but he was well aware that myself and some other coworkers were very much into the paranormal.
Oh, is that John?
And no, actually it's not. It's a good guess though. And he always, none of that's true. I don't believe any of that shit. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. You're allowed to have your opinion. But then he came to us one day and he said, I never believed in this shit, but here's what happened. And apparently it was him and just one other guy in the building. When they started hearing women talking where there were no women to be talking, and it made believers out of them. And that's part of why I really like the ghost stories and the haunted stories and things like that, because everybody's got one. And if you don't have one, you might very, very soon.
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems like once you have one, then you're like,
now
you pay
you're
more
open.
attention.
Yep. Now you're more attentive to it.
Yeah. You're like, did that door just close? There ain't nothing that can make a draft.
Right.
It's a fucking ghosty.
Yeah, or you stop convincing yourself that you're just hearing things. You're like,
yeah.
fuck dicks. All right. Yep.
Yeah. So now when I hang out with people who don't believe whatsoever, and like a door closes, they're like, "Oh, it was a cat. It was, the wind." I'm like, "It's a fucking ghost. Grow up, guys."
Yeah. Sure. No, skepticism is definitely healthy. I approach every situation with a healthy dose of skepticism, but sometimes there's just no explanation. And I love it when these highly skeptical, debunky type people suddenly come to me and say, okay, so the other day I was sitting there and this happened and I can't fucking explain it. That's one of my favorite moments in life.
My favorite time, and Gage and I have had these, Justin and I, one of my most recent, and then Derek and I have had these, even you and me, Ben, when a fucking door frame fell on you.
Yeah.
When you're like, something doesn't want me in here.
Nope, sure
And
did.
then you take one step and it falls on you. But Justin and I, during the Paranatural vacation, I still don't have an answer for this, and I still don't understand it at all. When we went to that abandoned haunted campground in the George Washington National Forest, we were sitting out fishing by the pond at like 3 a.m. And all of a sudden, right over top of us, I hear something that I've never heard in the wild or anywhere. The closest sounding thing I can put to it is Pac-Man dying. Like on the old arcade, wee, 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 wee. It went right over top of our heads. And both Justin and I look at each other and we're like, what the fuck was that?
It was a tiny UFO.
So I've heard UFO, I've heard Banshee, I've heard something called a screech.
That's an owl.
No, not the screech owl. There's an actual cryptid called a screech.
That's that guy from fucking Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
You're lucky you got out of there. He was going to make a porn with you.
Oh boy. It's not Brokeback Mountain though.
Not with that attitude.
And then Derek and I remember the first time that Derek had like a genuine like look of bewilderment on his face. We were at Crescent, which is a penitentiary at one time. And it was my first time meeting Angel of Dark Hollow. Thank you to all of Dark Hollow, Angel.
Oh yeah, we forgot those guys.
They were doing a seance, and we all had our backs to an empty cell. And there wasn't a whole lot of us, but it was creepy. It was pitch black, and it was just like they were playing Hallelujah, which somehow made it creepier. And I had my back up to it, and I really want to look inside. Just even though it's pitch black, I still wanted to be facing it because you always feel like something's gonna grab you. And I remember Derek just scooches closer to me, all quiet like, and he just leans over and whispers. He's like, "You hear that shit behind us, right?" I was like, "Yeah, I do." And he's like, "Are you gonna look?" I'm like, "I want to, but I don't want to." And he's like, "There's something behind us. I've been hearing it this whole time." And I remember we picked our lucky numbers. We went to cell 17, and his is 21, but we 17 and 18, so we could be next to each other. And I remember it was just like that look on Derek's face. It freaked me out a little bit more than I was, because he's always been the brave one who was never afraid of anything. But he just like, "Are you fucking hearing this?"
Yeah, it's always better in those situations when you have somebody else to confirm you're not just hearing shit, like.
So ever since that moment, I've heard Derek more and more. Like, I remember there was this one time I watched his cooler that's underneath his table, like, fucking hop over the little lip of the table and slide. I was like, And then when Derek got home that night, I told him, and he's like, it was a mouse. This is a whole ass cooler. It wasn't a fucking mouse.
Fucking Mighty Mouse moving the coolers around.
Ever since, or Jerry's cousin from that one episode,
Yeah.
Tom and Jerry. But ever since that incident, Derek will get a hold of me and he's like, hey, guess what the fucking ghost is doing now? I'm like, yeah, it is a ghost. Told you.
Yep.
But yeah, huge lover of all paranormal.
Yeah, same. Those are just my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
All right, brother. Happy anniversary, pal.
Happy anniversary to you, Ben.
And everybody, again, we really appreciate you listening. That's what makes this 2 years worth it. Many more to come. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, hit like, share, tell people about our show. We love you. Oh, happy holidays. This is going to come out just before Christmas and all that stuff. So everybody, happy holidays. Have a safe and happy holiday. And just fair heads up, we'll be a little bit late next week, but we do plan on having an episode out next week between the holidays for your enjoyment. So, we love you. Good night.
Next week's episode is something real special. So tune in for sure.
Yeah.
Because that's something I've been waiting for since our second episode. And a huge thank you to everyone for the support, for listening, for telling friends, for giving us ideas, for everything. Can't tell you how much I appreciate you. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Have a great one. Love you guys.